Good morning, this is Steve. We're at the high school trailhead for Tiger Mountain. We're heading up to that green area way up there. That is Poo Poo Point. We're going to take the high school trail and then it connects up above here with the Poo Poo Point trail and head up to Poo Poo. Very small parking lot here right off of Front Street in Issaquah. You can probably hear the cars going by, and the trail goes right over the top of this car here. So we'll check in a little bit later. Well, good morning. This is Steve. We'll do a little bit better introduction here. I'm here on the west side of Tiger Mountain with my good buddy Jeno. We're going to head up to Poo Poo Point today. We're currently on the high school trail heading up to the Poo Poo Point trail, which is going to take us up to Poo Poo Point. One thing I wanted to mention is there are two main trails up to Poo Poo Point. The more popular, right off of Issaquah Hobart, is called the Chirico Trail. That is really a steep trail, very short, very popular, where all the hang gliders and paragliders land. And we are doing the less popular Poo Poo Point Trail via the high school trail. And we're actually going to be on the actual Poo Poo Point Trail. This is almost twice as long as Chirico, but we like it. It's like I said, it's not as popular. We shouldn't see as many people, and it ascends here, and we're on the ascent. You can probably hear me breathing, and we'll check in a little bit. Thanks for hiking with us. We've reached our first trail intersection, about a mile up from the high school. This is the trail up to Poo Poo Point right here, actually the Poo Poo Point Trail. I'm going to swing around here. We're standing under a power line right away, and down this way is where we came from, up the high school trail. So very pleasant walk. It's not that steep. We've done about a mile so far, and now the fun begins. We will check in a bit. We're ascending the Poo Poo Point Trail. This first bit always going up, but not as steep as further up the line here. Haven't seen anybody. Did hear a few voices down below us. We weren't sure where it was coming from, so thought it was just me. But then Jeno heard him too, so we're heading up to a really cool bridge, and we'll check in with you there. We're approaching this very large bridge here. Kind of a cool area on the Poo Poo Point Trail. I'll show you the creek that it crosses, and it's flowing pretty good right now, considering all the rain we've had this June. So we're in an area known as Many Creeks Valley. Here's the other side, looking down on the creek as it flows under the bridge. We're probably about 20 feet above it. But this area of the hike is known as Many Creeks Valley, and to my left, where the creek comes down, there are probably 6 or 7 small creeks that are in the area up above us in this valley, and they all kind of tumble down, and so it was named Many Creeks Valley. If you take the railroad grade, there's 6 small bridges you have to cross, although some are gone now. But it's kind of a cool area on the hike, and we are actually coming up not so cool an area, the steepest area of the hike. We've got quite a climb ahead of us here. As you ascend up Many Creeks Valley, it gets real steep, and it's a thigh burner, let me tell you. It's the steepest part of the hike here, and so I'll probably check in about halfway up it, try to get a good shot and show you how steep it is. But trail's in pretty good shape, a few mud puddles here and there, but not bad. Haven't seen anybody, didn't hear any more voices, so we're just kind of rambling along on a very mild morning. cloud. It looks like the sun's cloudy, and it looks like the sun's trying to come out here. So hopefully when we get up to Poo Poo, we'll have some clear skies and even better views than when it's cloudy. But there's always a view up there. So we'll check in a bit, probably on the ascent up Many Creeks Valley. Toodaloo. So Jeno and I were just commenting, we haven't been up here since winter, and everything is in bloom. So this first section of the trail, from where we came from down below us, this isn't bad here, but boy, down below it's overgrown and you can't see anything. And I told Jeno in the winter, when nothing's blooming, you got pretty good line of sight on this. So we're heading up the ascent up Many Creeks Valley, and trail's muddy up here in spots. Still haven't seen anybody, and I think we're the first two up this way because me being on the point and being taller, I am hitting spider web after spider web. Breaking the trail for everybody else here. This trail switchbacks up this hillside, and we're gonna go up that way. Many Creeks Valley is straight ahead. We're to the right of it, and so we'll check in, probably up on top. Little interesting factoid when we get up there, so stay tuned. I'm taking a break here on our ascent. We're lucky, there's where the trail goes. We're lucky this trail switchbacks up because this is what the hillside looks like going up. It's a pretty steep hillside. We've got a ways to go. I think we're about halfway to the top, the high point of Poo Poo Point Trail, which is not where Poo Poo Point is. So we'll have that little factoid to come. I was telling Jeno, not right in this area, but boy, there are some large Doug firs and cedars up in here. Just a old growth forest, Pacific Northwest style. But like I said, I think we're about halfway up. Grade doesn't lessen until we're up there, so enough of a break, it's time to get going. So we made it. We have reached the high point of the Poo Poo Point Trail. There's a big trail intersection here. Let me kind of give you the lay of the land. This is the railroad grade trail, and that would take us back to West Tiger 3. Many Creeks Valley is over there, and like I said earlier, you cross about 6 bridges, or remains of bridges, over these small creeks. Nothing too bad if the bridge isn't in place. We have just come up from down here, the Poo Poo Point Trail. A lot of foliage this time of year. And the Poo Poo Point Trail makes a right after you come up, and we're going to head this way. And then up above us here is the One View Trail, which will take you over, if you ascend this hill, we've done it before, it can take you to the Tiger Mountain Trail, which would take you back to West Tiger 3, or if you continue on One View, it will take you to the backside of West Tiger 1. My little two little factoids, this is, like I said, the high point of the Poo Poo Point Trail. We actually are going to descend, we're going to go this way and descend about 200 feet down to Poo Poo Point. People, I don't think, realize that when they come up here. They think they're going to be at Poo Poo Point, and that's not the case. We still got a half mile to go. The other thing is the railroad grade is so named because back in the early 1900s, it was an actual narrow gauge rail line. They used to log up here, and it runs from here, and it goes quite a ways around the side of Tiger Mountain at this elevation and pretty level. And we'll see. Back over this way, I'll try to get a shot of it. There actually is some old rail line kind of pulled up and laid on the side. That's the cool thing about the railroad grade. When you take it, you'll see in spots little remnants of the railroad. So for a rail buff like me, it's kind of cool. But anyway, forgot to mention we started at 5:30 down in the parking lot, and we got to the base of this ascent at 6:30. So we're anticipating about a 7:15, 7:20 arrival at Poo Poo Point. trying to get some sun. I see a little bit of blue sky, mainly clouds, so keep my fingers crossed when we get over there. We still got about 20-25 minutes to get there, so we'll check in then. So here's the rail I was talking about. This is an old rail that the railroad used up here. This dates probably to the 1900s. Kind of cool. As we start our descent up here. Trail in this section, it's level, so it's muddy. But we're going to start heading down to Poo Poo Point. So stand by, we should be there in a few minutes. So this is kind of cool. It's what they call a nurse log. This log has fallen many years ago, and all these trees are starting to grow out of the top of it. It's kind of you see this in the woods. We're still on this descent. It is a steep descent. Here we go here. I'm looking down slope. Knees are going to be sore after this, but we descend about, I think, 250, 300 feet down, and then we're on the back side of Poo Poo Point, and we come in around the back. The other trail, you come in on the front side of it, so I'm kind of watching my step here. I'm sorry for the poor quality if I'm jiggling, but it's steep here, and we've got to go back up this, but it's not too bad. Like I said, it's only a couple hundred feet elevation, so we're getting close. Skies are kind of mixed. I'm looking over to the west here. It's a little blue and a little cloudy. I think more clouds than sun, and muddy section of the trail. I'm trying to decide the best way to go, and we're almost there. So Jeno and I are wondering how many people we're going to see on Poo Poo today. It is the middle of the week, and it is a popular hike. No one has come our way for sure. We haven't seen anybody, but the other way, it's, like I said, more popular, so we're guessing maybe a dozen or so. We'll see. So be there shortly. So this is the backside of Poo Poo Point. We got a restroom there. This is the staging area. If you're a hang glider or paraglider, you can have someone bring you up in their car and drop you here. We've come from that way, and there's the older bathroom there. We're going to head up this way. Bear with me as we head up the hill to Poo Poo Point. Almost here. Pretty good hike this morning. Haven't seen anybody. Weather is perfect. No bugs as usual, which we like. Of course, we go early when it's still kind of cool, which helps. And I'm coming up to give you the view that I'm going to see as we get up here. And there is somebody up here. I see him coming toward me. And morning. So this is the view from Poo Poo Point. Lake Sammamish in the distance. Let me spin around here. Squawk Mountain. A little cloudy, a little bit of sun. There's the launch pad for the hang gliders. And then that road that is to the left of Issaquah High School is Front Street. The main drag through Issaquah, Lake Sammamish. Cloudy morning, there's the plateau. Nobody's up here, big surprise. We thought there'd be somebody, so kind of nice. There's another launch area from up here. I don't know if I could run down this thing with a hang glider on my back and jump out over this. It's quite a daunting prospect, but those people do that. Let me see, I'll zoom in here on Issaquah High School. We're parked down there. That's where we're parked at. So we came a long way. We're right off of Front Street there. But this is the view. Seattle kind of socked in this morning. You can kind of see it over the top of Cougar Mountain. And of course Squawk. And then way off in the distance, I believe, over there is the control tower for SeaTac, but I'm having trouble. I've got reflection in my lens here, so I can't tell for sure. But nobody's up here with us. We like that. So we'll take a break. Jeno, give me a time.
7:25.
7:25, so an hour and 55 minutes. And like I said, we are way in the heck down there. We came up from this way. Trail kind of comes up, and we came in on the back side here. Some solar panels to run all the equipment up here. But yeah, this is where you'd go if you're a hang glider or a paraglider.
It's one of the spots.
One of the spots, as Jeno pointed out. There's another spot over here to our facing left that's at a lower elevation, and the Chirico Trail comes up through the woods there. So if we had come straight up from down below, that's where we'd come from. But like I said, we took the less traveled, longer route up here. Nice morning. Thanks for watching. Even up here you can hear the freeway noise.
Yeah.
Of I-90. This is a very popular hike on very nice days. You've probably seen the pictures on social media. It's like a zoo up here. There was a guy down below us, we asked, and he said there was about 15 cars in the Chirico parking lot. So people are starting to come up. We've seen 4 so far up here. No one's come from our direction, but that is way off over in the distance, the control tower for SeaTac. We've seen a couple planes take off and land. So that's the view you have from up here. It's pretty spectacular. Not quite as nice as we were hoping for, but you know, it's dry for a change and no bugs. So we have got to go. If we were birds, we could probably fly down there in about 10 minutes, but we've got to go back down to Issaquah High School. So we'll take a few videos on the way down. We'll check in from time to time, but great hike. So we're back at the big trail intersection here, the high point of the trail, and wanted to give you an update as we start our descent of Many Creeks Valley. We saw 10 people on Poo Poo Point. They started coming up in droves after we'd been up there a bit. Everybody coming from Chirico. This in front of us is I showed you a nurse log earlier. This is a nurse stump. Been here for a while, and all these small trees are growing out of the top of it. But anyway, it's a nice morning. Not as clear as we had hoped for, but we'll take it. It's dry. Trail's muddy in spots, but we're going to start our descent, like I said, of Many Creeks Valley, and on the Poo Poo Point Trail, and then down Poo Poo Point to the high school trail and back to the car. And we'll see how many people we'll see on the way down. We're guessing 10 or so, kind of like what we saw on the top of Poo Poo Point. So we'll check in a little bit later. So we're off the big descent from Many Creeks Valley. We're coming to the big bridge. Thought I'd give you an update. We've run into 6 hikers, all in that descent for us. One solo guy who was heading up to West Tiger 1 via the One View Trail, and 5 women out for a power hike. They were hauling, and chatted with them for a bit. So we're up to 6. So I think our guess of 10 might be off here as we cross the bridge, and still got to descend here, but not as steep, so won't be as bad on the knees. We'll check in a little while. So it's a little before 9 o'clock, and we are on the high school trail, just about back to the car. It's been a good hike. We've seen a total of 9 hikers after we saw the 6 in the descent of Many Creeks Valley. We've just seen 3 solo hikers the rest of the way, kind of spread out on the trail here. But so only 9. So our guess was 10. So we're probably going to be pretty close to that. And we should be back at the car in a little bit here. Great hike. Started, like I said, at 5:30, and we're going to finish probably a little after 9. No rain today, no bugs. A little bit of mud up above in various spots on the trail, but with the January weather we've had, it's to be expected. So this was kind of a change of plans for us. If you remember my last video, we were going to go to Crystal Lakes at Mount Rainier today, and there's still quite a bit of snow, I guess, between the lower lake and the upper lake. And it's supposed to get warm here for about a week, so we decided to wait a week. It's going to still be there next week, and hopefully the snow melts out so we don't have as much snow travel to do next week. So that's about it. Thanks for hiking with us. Hope you enjoyed the hike up to Poo Poo via the longer high school trail, and be safe, everyone. We'll see you on the trail.